Hi there, I'm Carrie Ellis, author of 21st Century Superhuman. This is our 21st Century Superhuman show. And today I have with me a great friend, Rob Marquez. And Rob is a freedom fighter. He's somebody who's spent a lot of years working for us, learning what freedom is really all about. And somehow in today's world, we don't really know what freedom's about because we've been living in an old system that has kept us kind of, on the grindstone, working hard, paying taxes, not being able to enjoy our lives till we retire. And we think there's a lot of wasted human creativity here. And we'd like to change some of that. And I know there's been many movements. Sometimes it's been called the sovereign movement, patriot movement, all these different things. But we're just using the idea of freedom. What is human freedom all about? And Rob, thank you for being here with me today. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? I know you were a carpenter for 23 years and you're a hardworking dad, and you've got but you somehow this became your passion and you began educating yourself and ended up in the court systems. And you've done a lot of pretty amazing things. And when you open your mouth, I just am blown away at how much knowledge you have. So I wanted to help you start sharing this with the world. I think all of us need education in this matter.
Absolutely. Well, I became aware of these things through my parents and their difficulties. I'd say probably around 2010 is when I first started getting it. 2009, I think it was in. My parents were facing bankruptcy for the third time again in their life. They were losing their home. And my father had spent years and years building his business as a carpenter, installing kitchens, custom kitchens and things. And when the 2008 bubble burst, within a year, they were looking at bankruptcy and, foreclosure and stuff like that. And so my parents said, something's wrong. Like, how does a good, honest, hardworking American family, struggle all these years? Why can't, if this is the land of freedom and prosperity, why can't we be free and prosper? What is going on? So they started to research on the internet. They started to find a lot of, what people will call conspiracy theories. And at the time I said the same thing. I said, these are just conspiracy theories. You guys, I don't know what you're doing, but, dad needs to go find a job. You guys need to support yourself, save your house. Well, my father had worked since the age of 9 and he was done. He totally started realizing that he had been taken advantage of and he felt violated, and he got really bitter and upset and just said he's done. And they began to fight this foreclosure. It took me a while to come around. And when I finally did, I started seeing that some of these things they were looking at had some interesting points, but I didn't know law. I didn't know any of that. I just knew that, okay, they're making sense to me now and I want to get involved. And I started realizing that getting involved at the level of quote unquote politics, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. If it's worked, we wouldn't be having these issues. So I figured there had to be a more grassroots way. So there's a lot of backstory, but it basically guided me towards studying the law on my own through a series of events. I had gotten involved with several different quote unquote freedom groups, patriot groups, whatever you want to label them as. To me, they were just grassroots groups trying to make a difference. And I got involved, and that led me to start studying the law. And I started to discover that these quote unquote theories were not theories. Okay. And I'm very, very into, knowing the details, having the facts, not just listening to someone, not just filling out some paperwork. Like, I want to know, how does this work? So I've come to the understanding and a place in my own reality where I am totally free. And I am free first here. Okay, that's where it started. But I'm also free from taxes,
Wow.
levies, economy, all of that stuff.
Wow.
It is a daily procedure. It's not a piece of paper. Okay, so a lot of people think, well, I'm just going to turn this paper in and I'm free. It's not how it works. So my goal has been to, we do need to find, I'm sorry, it might have cut out there. I just came
Rob,
back in.
I was just going to jump in and say a second. It's amazing how your like typical American family who are just, probably representative of millions of people, had to deal with a really severe kind of pain of losing their home, of struggling, trying to figure out how to even make their lives work. And, it's just so many people have had to deal with that kind of thing in the last 10 or 20 years even. It almost seems like the economy's gotten tighter and tighter, and it's made it harder and harder just for regular middle class people who are hardworking and dedicated to just even make ends meet. And then they end up, losing their home or being so far in debt. I mean, I've had friends that have been so far in debt, they've been literally suicidal, and just like people get to the point where they don't know how to go on because this system is compressing them so much. And I love it that you had that personal experience and you came from that background. You felt that kind of pain that a lot of people are feeling, and it made you kind of dig into the search.
It broke me. I worked day and night, 16 hours a day. I
Wow.
had my own contracting business. I started a family. I was remodeling my house, remodeling my um, father-in-law's house at the time. And, I had no life. I was a slave to the system, and because I wanted to do the right thing, because I'm so responsible that I wanted to do the right thing. This is how it's done. I'm going to get it done. I had no life. I was like, what is this? I can't enjoy my son. I can't enjoy, the only thing I can do is work and be miserable till I'm 65. Woohoo. Then I get to quote unquote retire when I'm broken down and I'm old and I can't do anything. 65 isn't old, but you get what I mean. You're tired, your body's beat up if you're in the industry I'm in and things like that. And
Right.
that there had to be another way. This can't be.
Right.
And then I started to realize, wait a minute, this is an actual planned out mechanism that we just don't know how it functions. And once we learn how it functions, now we can start to become really free and live by our own rules, so to speak. And that's where I'm at. I'm trying to bring this. I've stuck up for a lot of people. I never had any legal issues. I've never been charged with anything, or they attempted to at one point, but I beat that. I've never been in trouble for anything. And actually that helped me when they tried to do that because I
And
had no record.
one of the things you
I
and I,
always followed the quote unquote.
yeah, that's awesome.
Go ahead.
And one of the things you and I have talked about quite a bit is how this is, there's so many things in the system that seem kind of broken down, and that there actually is a real way to unwind ourselves from it. And I love that it seems like a lot of people who are waking up are living with the idea of there's nobody to blame. We just happen to be a human civilization that is starting to wake up in the middle of certain mechanisms that have been running our culture for a long time, that are now becoming out of balance because we're capable of moving beyond them. And I like that attitude. Instead of going, they're wrong, they're bad, we need to fight them instead, and whoever they is, but instead to say, there's been a system that's been running for a long time. It is not very equitable. I mean, I know from my perspective, 147 corporations basically run the world, and they're pretty much, the corporate system is pretty much siphoning so much energy off of people, and it runs governments. And we won't completely go down that path, but that mechanism has made it difficult for everyone from the educated masses to even the impoverished masses. I spent a lot of time in South America, Central America, and I even taught in South Africa this year. And I realized there's just really also millions of people who are far less educated than the middle class American, who also need a better system to work in. They need funds coming back to their towns and villages so that they can have good education and they can have good garbage cleanup and good food. And these are just meeting basic human needs. And so we're kind of outgrowing this old system, which is kind of skewed towards a small percentage, making profit off the rest. And I think that's kind of at the crux of a lot of what you began to explore and find out how to get beyond. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first off, my disclaimer, and I'll throw out a few of them, is when I say them and they, I in no way intend to mean that they're separate from us. They, whoever they are. It's just because we're so conditioned to believe in the way that we speak, we say they and them. So I just want everybody to know that. And when I say God, I mean the universe. It's not tied to religion or anything like that. I just use those terms because everybody can recognize them. But the reason this has all happened, this is all spiritual. And the reason this mechanism of economy and this thing has been put on us, this clamp, this vice so tight, is to make us pop until we wake up. And that's what happened with me. It made me pop, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, I gotta wake up. There's more going on here. That's when I started to feel my own power with my own knowledge. And I began to stand up and say, okay, I forgive you. It's not the people behind the desk at these agencies and things like that. They're all following orders. Has it been done to us over time, in a very calculated way? Absolutely. But not by everyone that's involved, only a handful. So what I had to do was shift my perspective and say, I've got to go about this in a very loving way, a very knowledgeable way. If I'm going to manifest through law of attraction, my freedom and live in a reality that is free within a reality of people that probably aren't, then I need to shift my perspective and say, I don't need to hold anybody accountable. I just need you to work with me. This system was built for our benefit, but nobody's been taught how to use it. So everything.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So we're gonna what I hope to do over this series of calls is unwind it and
nice.
Throw it back to where it's supposed to be, because that's how I use the system.
Nice.
I'm in control. I'm the authority. There is no authority above me other than God. And unless someone can bring me a contract between them and God, that God said, hey, go ahead and take my property and do what you want with it, there is no authority higher than me.
I believe
and believe me.
Yeah, there's many people that are ready for this. I think many, many, many people. And, I've had friends.
Well, I have court.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I've got court audios. Again, like I was saying before, I never went into court for my own issues ever. I went for other people to stand up for them and experiment with the theories that I was studying, the law theories, to put the rubber to the road. So in other words, when I start explaining things, it's from experience and from results, not from, well, I read this in the law book, and if you do this, this happens. Hypothetically. No, I read this in the law book. When I did this, this happened. So you begin to see, okay, wow, there is actual tangible, or there is actual results. Whether they're tangible or not is not even an issue. I can even produce tangible results also, where people can actually see what took place. So with that comes great power. But again, with all great power, you can abuse it. So you really have to come from a place of love. You have to come from love. And it has to be from peace, because if you're going at them again, your brother, in revenge, you're going to get what you asked for, especially if it's dealing with the economy and the banking mechanism that's in place, because that's the largest war machine on earth. So if you're going to go war again,
beautiful,
you're going to get a war.
Well said. And as I teach in 21st Century Superhuman, we're living in a quantum world. And in this quantum world, our thoughts are creating our reality. If we see something that we don't like or that we do like, we have to know that it's kind of coming from inside of us. We're resonating molecules into form. So I think what you just said is brilliant.
Yeah, and can I just expand on that now? I used to study constantly, and I felt like I was putting all these pieces together. I'm at the point now where, yes, I study, but sometimes I hit a roadblock and I can't quite figure out what my next move is. So you know what I do? I just drop everything and go out and enjoy my life and do my day-to-day stuff and don't even worry about being free, being a slave, being, the government's going to come in on me any day and there's chemtrails. I don't even worry about any of that. And within days, more information comes. The answer comes. Boom. Okay, there's your next, that's where you go. Oh, great. No resistance. Boom. That's where I'm headed. So now I'm almost being guided to each piece of information that I need to put this together. And I'm very, very close to having a very simplistic, straight line for people to go, okay, here's what I need to do. And here's how I need to operate from here forward. And I'm good. I'm free. I'm free now. How did the point that I want to try to get across to people over this series of interviews and stuff is, how do you take your life value and apply it? Because the only thing of value on this entire earth is life energy. Everything else is just a hypothecation and a representation of value. Gold is a representation of life energy. So it's a representation of value. You have that within you. It's limitless until you pass, then it's limitless in this reality, right? Then it's over in this reality. So we want to take that limitless energy and turn it into something that we can use to benefit humanity. Benefit me, I don't care. I can live with rags on my back. I can live in a tent. I'm good. But I want my value when I use it, it's going to be in connection with another human being. So I want them to benefit from that. How do I take that value to benefit them? How do I take that value to benefit the earth? Not me. I don't want to profit. I want the earth to profit. I want my neighbor to profit. That's where we really start to cook. That's where we start to heal the wounds of the earth.
I love that. Go ahead.
Not about us.
Yeah.
It's not about us individually. It's about us as a whole.
As a whole, as a collective. And the truth is what you said, though, and we are so stuck in the old system on individuality, and I have to have more, and I have to have more for me, and that is a fading paradigm, because only as a collective race of humanity on planet Earth are we going to really move into the next level of our own evolution. But I love that what you said is life is the one thing of value on planet Earth. That's really beautiful. And everything else is kind
absolutely
of a facsimile, right? There's all these made up constructs that are really outside of the generation of life, of love, of how we're designed to operate. And they're these sort of made up almost game things that we want to kind of set ourselves free in the midst of.
Absolutely. And like you said, we're stuck in this mindset of individual, me, I need to own, I need to have. That was a design for us to get stuck in that, because all we're going to do is manifest less. So now if we can say, I don't need this, I want it for the world and the world can have it, you're going to manifest more, because you're creating space. You're opening space by not trying to fill the space with you. Now you have the space open to fill with giving and putting out, if that makes sense. So you really have to change your mindset. I will tell you that anyone who's trying any law processes or patriot stuff, if you're trying it simply for your own benefit at heart, to get money or to try to tap some hidden account that's people talk about in the patriot communities and all, chances are you're never going to find it, because it's not about you helping, it's about you helping yourself, and that doesn't work. We're here to serve each other. We're not here to serve me. Or at least I'm not here to serve me. My neighbor might say, well, I'm here to serve you because you're my neighbor, you're my brother. Great. And I'm here for you for that reason. But I'm not here to serve me, So we have to change our mindset. That alone, that mindset would end all world of wars. If everyone could get on that page and say, well, we don't need anything for ourselves. We just want to help each other and make things better. And if everybody could shift to that and get rid of, well, I got to retire, I got to have money, I got to have status. If we could all think along those lines, all the wars would end in a heartbeat, and the seas would clean up and the air would clean, and you'd be surprised. And that's
I think it can happen very quickly too.
Yeah. And I think at first it's going to take some physical steps,
Yes.
and that's what I'm working on. Take these physical steps so we can get people relief, so they're not, they're not worried about losing their home, they're not worried about feeding their children, they're not worried about something. And we need to get to that point. Once people are relieved of that, now they don't have to worry about that. They can create whatever they want because they're not worried about surviving.
So Rob, I know you're working on a website to be able to teach people the kind of steps that you're going to tell us about. And I know we're going to do a series of these shows. So we're going to just kind of share a little bit at a time, because it's a lot for us to learn and we want to kind of bite it off in chunks that we can chew. So
Right.
Why don't you go ahead and give us a little view down the path of where you're going to take us. What are you seeing? I know because you've gone into all these different avenues and you've been in court and you've tried different things and seen what's worked and what hasn't. And now you've been getting some really, you've been putting a lot of pieces together and having awarenesses that seem to be getting kind of confirmed for other people that are knowledgeable like you are. And you're seeing a really good path that we can go down to very gently and easily kind of cultivate this kind of freedom for ourselves.
Yes. So the website is going to be about education, and it will provide some tools. And the main point of the website for me is I'm only going to put things up there that I've lived, walked through, and gotten proven results. Because there's a lot of patriot for profit people out there that give you all this stuff, and it sounds like, oh, all I got to do is this and pay them $2,500 and all my problems go away. And next thing you know, you're in worse, because everything they said, they didn't have anything to back up. They never walked it themselves. So I'm totally against and avoiding that. I just want to provide the information with the results. So I'm developing a website that I have a small membership fee, and it's going to be geared on one of the main things that the elite people of the world and all the richest people in the world who have money to make money use, and that's called trust. And there's a specific trust, because you'll never be able to go to an attorney and get this trust. Okay, it's said that only a handful of the attorneys in the world even know that this trust exists and how to operate it. And those handfuls of attorneys work for the elite. Well, I happened to come across a gentleman that introduced me to this trust, and I began to study. And I was studying trust law even before I met him. But when I saw this trust, I knew right away, because every hair on my body stood up and my whole entire being was just buzzing. This trust is the one that's needed. It's the same one that the elite use. So there's kind of two sections to the website. It'll be the trust, and then understanding how to use your life energy and your value, which gets really deep. You and I have had conversations about that before, so we don't want to go too far into that on this particular call. But so it's going to be teaching people how to go through the proper steps and how to run a trust. Most people have no idea what a trust is. I didn't know. I mean, my whole life, I thought it was like Bigfoot. I heard it all the time, but never saw it, didn't understand how it operated. It was crazy, but it's actually easier than you think. So my point with the website is to offer these two avenues and to break it down simply so the average person can understand.
Wow, this
one thing I've been gifted.
Sounds really exciting,
Yeah.
Rob. Again, just to review, it's this one very special kind of trust. And then what's the second thing? How to live our lives.
Yeah, well, it's operating in private and being able to use your life value to have abundance, to supply everything you need.
Nice.
That's the second part, which I'm this close. And again, the reason I haven't opened the website is because I've got one final piece and I'm waiting on the results for. First, I have to complete putting it together, which I'm in the process right now. Soon as those results come and I see what happens once I've completed this, and I know, okay, this is solid, then it's go time. Because I as a person can't put anything out there that isn't tried and true. To me, that's just leading people down the road.
So we're talking about a very wise, intelligent method of kind of circumventing the current system. Because I know there's been people that have gone to court, they've filed papers, they've done jail time or prison time. There's been so much of that that's gone on the last 20 or 30 years. And we're looking at something that's using really, really critical intelligence using the systems method in order to go around the system, correct?
Everything, yes. It's using the system the way it was intended.
Yeah.
Again, just picture it like it's backwards. We're just going to flip it right back around. So it's all lawful. Everything is legal and lawful. The key is, see, people don't know how, like you were saying, they get arrested, all this stuff over 20 years of people researching it all, because a lot of times we don't know how to act in the private. We don't know how to be in public and keep things private. And that is, and we don't know the boundary, like what can we do? What can we say? What can't we say? You know, why? You know, so when you learn the basic fundamentals, you begin to learn how to interact in the public. And part of that is just knowing that, hey, I am the one with the authority. That doesn't mean I'm going to walk around and, you know, act like some big hotshot. You can't touch me. No, I'm going to be very kind. I'm going to be polite. I'm just going to be knowledgeable. No, you can't have my signature. No, you can't have any information until you prove to me in the law where I am required or mandated to give you that. And here's the secret. There is no law. You don't have to give any information. There's no law. There's no mandate that says I have to give you my private information. That's key number one. The problem is we get scared, right? Because all they have is intimidation and stuff. We get, oh, I better tell them everything. Well, what they're doing is collecting information so they can use it against you. That's how they build their story. They build their story against you from what you gave them. Now
So
stop
Rob,
giving it to them. So these little nuggets.
yeah, you
Go
know,
ahead.
that sounds like we're kind of delving into the deeper education. Why don't you just take about
Exactly.
5 more minutes and give us a little more of a preview of where we're heading? Because you're going to teach us exactly how to do these things. Because as soon as you said that, I thought, wow, do I have enough courage to do that? But it's not really about courage. It's about knowledge. And you are going to give us step-by-step process, which will make it easy. And because you've already been treading.
Here. Absolutely. So you'll be able to, you know, answer in confidence, knowing that you've done nothing wrong and that it's okay. Here's my records to back everything up. Like, so what we want to do is basically get to the point where this is very comfortable for everyone. It's not scary. You're not in a combative mode. You're not having to defend yourself. Everything is done behind the scenes because it's private. All of your expenses are paid. Everything you have is paid for because it already is paid for. We just don't know how to access or manage that part of our business because everyone has business. They just don't know how to run it because we've never been taught, because if we were taught, then we would all be at the same level. And of course, certain people in the world don't want that. But we're awakening, so we're at that point. So the object is to get everybody at that point where, oh, okay, this is fine. This is easy. This isn't scary. And the state recognizes it right off the bat. Oh, hands off. Yep. Thank you. Bye. Have a nice day. You know, oh, hi. How you doing? Oh, good. Oh, well, I can't pull you over. I can't do this or that. So just give you a word of warning. Have a nice day. Okay. Thank you. Bye. That's where we're headed. It's not a defensive mode anymore because everything is already changed to taken care of in the system. And that's the last piece of the that close to having.
So we're gonna do some more of these videos, and we'll kind of get into some of the step-by-step processes, and then soon you'll have a website where people can come in and they can just be led step by step how to do this process. I know also at one point you and I were talking about the possibility of like all of humanity just entering into a certain kind of trust that would basically be a release from the system. And we'll get into talking about that, maybe not today, but that's a piece of this puzzle.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Anything else you want?
That would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Anything you want to say about that, or any other nuggets you want to throw out for the next conversation we have on this before we depart for the day?
Yeah. Well, for today, I don't get, like you said, too deep, but you know, again, this is really all about love. It's all about unity, you know, and my hope is that we can get enough people to unite under this peace and love so that we can actually really make a difference. And there are reasons why people who try to do this in love and peace are warred upon. Okay, so real quick, I'll just throw out there like the Bundy Ranch or Dakota Access Pipeline. These people were at peace, but look, they came at them like they were terrorists and enemies. There's a reason for that. And how do you stop that? Well, I know how to stop that. I've already done it. I've been accused of being a terrorist, so I know how to navigate that. And it's not hard. It just takes some understanding of how and why they can do that, and then how to stop them from doing that legally. But see, the people at the Bundy Ranch and the Dakota Access Pipeline may not have known these little nuggets. I don't know. But to me, there's no way they could have, or they wouldn't have been able to war upon them the way that they were.
I think that's
So,
probably true.
we're going to get into
as-
that.
Yeah. And as you know, I think all of us, each one of us comes in with certain gifts. And you seem to have a gift in this area. You seem to have just a knack for putting these pieces together. And that's why I wanted to do these shows with you, because you seem to be able to assimilate this information and turn it into a living process. And, you know, my guess is the people, I mean, I even went to Standing Rock, you know, and brought some things up there for the people. And I don't think anybody who was there probably understood the kind of things that you're sharing with us, because otherwise they would have probably taken steps to set themselves free. So we're talking about the seeding of potentially a worldwide movement that could change how we protest things that aren't right, and how we change things that are hurting the earth or hurting people. And I'm really excited that you're here to share these things with us.
Yeah, I can't wait, because, you know, again, understanding manifestation, I manifest things pretty quickly, and I keep focused on, this is my dream, is to have the entire world free, right? That there is no more war, there is no more hunger, there is no more want and no more need. So as long as I keep dreaming that and keep my intention there, and everybody starts to, doesn't have to be everybody, you have a free will choice, but people start joining in, we're going to pick that momentum up.
Yes.
And it will manifest faster.
Yes.
But we need each other. So that's the hope, is we start a big movement.
Yes. And my favorite saying lately has become, we are here to change the world, and we're not alone. And I know there are really millions rising around the world that have the intent of us living in peace, of us having abundance and plenty for everyone. And so this is one piece of the puzzle. And I'm grateful that you're doing what you're doing, Rob.
Thank you. I'm grateful that you have me here and we can kick this off, because I just know it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, we shall see you next time. And meanwhile, we'll do several more segments of this. And Rob Marquise, thank you so much for being here today. And much love and many blessings to everybody out in our listening audience. Remember to breathe, smile. If you haven't got a copy yet of 21st Century Superhuman, Quantum Lifestyle, it's being called one of the most important books on the planet, guidebook for these times. It's available on Amazon, both in Kindle and in paperback. Much love, many blessings. Center in your heart and follow your dreams. They're really important. Okay. Catch you soon. See you soon, Rob.
Okay. See you soon, Kerry. Thank you.
Okay, ciao.